I need to like sit down and look at a few things, but overall, it's a fun deck. I say have fun with it. Make your friends cry. Get shanked a bit. It's good for your health.
Okay, welcome everybody to a deck profile that's not going to be done by me. I'm joined here by Biriarr, a good old teammate here, and he just played in the Carta Magica regionals, and he ended up getting 13th place with this Cooler Mill deck that he keeps. He's kicked my ass a couple times with it, and he did well at the tournament with it. So Biriarr, take it away.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on. Regarding the list itself, I mean, the leader is pretty broken effect. You know, whenever power of one of your opponent's battle cards is decreased, your opponent has to basically mill one. And this doesn't just include your effects. So like, let's say you face Red Sin, you can actually, they can, when they use their abilities to neg their own cards, they actually mill more cards that way as well. And then the leader, he draws a card whenever on your opponent's turn, one of your battle cards reduces the power of one of their battle cards on the front side, and then on the awakened side, it's both players' turns. So overall, pretty good leader. The only like real weakness to this leader, and I wish they like just errated it or they just reboot him, is front side the leader only draws if he attacks the leader card, which is really annoying because sometimes you need to swing at unisons and you kind of either have to choose between drawing or getting rid of a unison. But either way, going through the list quickly, we have 3 copies of Testing Opposition. Testing Opposition, you can't go wrong. It's token negates, you know. It actually came clutch. Pretty fucking standard, right? It came clutch in quite a few games for me, so yeah, it was very good. There's a few games where I actually just hard casted instead. There were people who were trying to stall me out. It's kind of weird. Trying to stall out a mill deck, you know. But, you know.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Because you kind of play a lot in the activate battle step of the game, so there's a lot of times where even if someone's going to go super hard on you, you're going to have a lot of energy on your opponent's turn. So even if you need to tap 2 instead of taking a life, you could have 2 open, and potentially with later cards with like your super combo choice and stuff, you have access to a lot of energy on both, mostly your opponent's turn, which is something to note there with the testing the opposition, because you do only awaken at 4 or less, and you don't have an alternate condition, so you're only ripping like. Rip at 5 is the only time you're gonna rip when you're unawakened, and then you're starting to get into the scary zone. But obviously next you got the Sensu Bean at 3, and that obviously took a hit. But how does that feel in the deck? I obviously don't think it's too much, but yeah.
Bean is good. I mean, it's still snapped. Like there were games where I would actually side out the 3rd copy for like other stuff, but I would not run anything less than 2 in the deck. But like, it's Bean. I mean, you get to untap stuff. It's a red-blue deck. You can go super combo untap Bean and do a lot of cool things. Or like you want to do like really cool efficient plays. You can, if you want to do multiple rivals, let's say you had the red-blue open, you had 2 red tapped, you could Bean, and instead of untapping the red-blue, untap 2 red, and then super combo to untap the red-blue. So you can go a rival cooler, and then pay 1 blue, a rival Hercule Boo, for example, and then at that point, your opponent's like, what the heck? You just played 3 battle cards off of this 1-2 card combo? Yep. Oh, okay.
That's one thing that isn't like thought of a lot, especially with newer players, right? When you think Sensu Bean, you think just blue, but like how a lot of decks work, it's just Sensu Bean, you get to tap 1 blue energy and untap any 2 energy. Whatever the hell you need. And in that situation, yeah, you wanna keep your red-blue stuff tapped down so that your super combo, because it can only touch red-blue multicolored cards. Sensu Bean can touch whatever you want, right? So that is a good point for players that are trying to pick up like a multicolor red-blue deck to look out for with Sensu Bean and the Biriarr super combo.
Exactly. And then I went 2 copies of 100% Overdrive Frieza, Church of Frank, you know. Very good card. I will be honest, I only used it in my final matchup, and it was useful there, but you're probably not going to play it every matchup because you're either in a position where you just need to do a few cheaper mills to win, or you're in a position where it's too risky to play this. But I still wouldn't, like, a lot of the games I would side out 1 copy, but I would never side out 2. Like, it's still good as a 1-of, it's great as a 2-of. You can search it with shield. I definitely still would keep this card in the deck. I know there's cooler mill players who don't, But I'll be honest, I think it's a mistake to not run this card. It's very, very strong. And it can win you games by itself. Because even if you don't do its own auto when it attacks, you can definitely use its second auto to minus 30k. Like not minus 30k, but to make your opponent mill too. Yeah.
No, it's definitely, and the thing with this whole deck that has been brought up, especially by you, is it's a mill deck, but it's kind of we got three mill decks that I can think of besides like Group Hug Slug. That's kind of a different thing. It's still a mill deck, but very weird. And that's probably what the 50-minute times were for for this regional for a best of one. Maybe people were playing Group Hug Slug, but like Janimba, it's kind of a stall mill deck, traditional. Xenosin, you stall out, mill them out. Cooler is if they're giving you an opening, you can just slam. You got double strikes everywhere. You got triple strikes here. Like you can just beat their face in.
Well, I'll be honest. I went X2, so I came 13th there. But like of my 6 games, 4 of them I just killed my opponent. 2 of the games I won through milling. But like 4 of the games I just beat them down. But like mind you, they still had like maybe like 2-3 cards left in their deck. But I was doing both. Like I was legitimately just trying to kill all my opponents. And yeah, the card's very good in that aspect. But I digress. And then the next card is of course Videl Encountering Danger. Very broken card, extremely powerful. Great in combination with the Jiren Unison, because then you're neg 30k compared to the other 3-cost Unison options for red. But I mean, you know, it's Videl. You counterplay, you play it. Spear Boost 1 minus 20k 2 cards. And the important thing is because its auto is the one that's negging when it's on the board, it does trigger your leader's auto, where Yamcha Merciless Barrage does not, because it's on the counterplay text, so it's before Yamcha had even hit the board. So she's another way for you to get extra draws as well on your front side. So very, very useful card. And then the next card, of course, is Mecha Frieza Energy Blight. It's your check land. You know, it's your check land. I don't know how else to put it. You know, you can.
It's what it's there for. It's just the multicolored tap it at the beginning of your first turn, and then there you go.
Exactly. So there's 2 lines of thought. Depending on your opening hand, you could either charge another red-blue card, and then you can charge the Energy Blight on your turn too. Just that way you have like, oh cool, blah blah blah. But I'm gonna be honest. Realistically, in most matchups, you only need 1 red-blue for almost every matchup. If you're playing a matchup where you need Dirty Burst, then by all means, you need to make sure you sequence things right. You definitely need 2 red-blues charged then at that point, or a mono blue. But that's the only thing there. It's an important card. It's a very useful card, and on very rare occasions, I have had a situation where I just play it and then swing 15 and do its auto to minus 5k a leader battle card for the battle. Like sometimes it comes up, but very rarely. And then of course the Beerus Divine Obliterator super combo, absolutely broken card. Being able to untap mana on your opponent's turn off this, absolutely broken. There's nothing more to say about that. It's extremely strong, very, very good value. The downside, of course, in this deck right now is it's not searchable, but a upgrade that I am looking at is the Android 17 from set 20, because it's on play, searches for any 6 or less multicolor red-blue, so you can actually use it to search for your super combos now, which is an insane upgrade for the deck, and its activate battle is broken. So even though you don't get Invoker, who cares? You get a 25k double striker and all that. So I think that would be a good upgrade, because then it makes this even more consistent, and it'll make the deck even stronger, in my opinion.
And to confirm, this whole thing was done still set 19 block, right? There was no set 20. That's the next regional's going to be that? Okay.
Correct. And then the next card was Jiren. I mean, this Unison is just broken. Legend of Universe 11. I don't know. I mean, I've topped multiple regionals with U7 using this Unison.
I was gonna say the first regional of last year when you got third, right? When U7 was with this, everyone was kind of going with a different Unison combo. Like, Jiren Videl, and it fucking worked for you, and it's still working.
It's broken.
Minus 100k. Here you go. Have fun.
This card's dumb. Like, I don't know how to put it. Oh, I swing 20 double. Oh, you token negate? Negative 10k mill 1, please. Oh, you played this? Negative 10k mill 1, please. Oh, you did that? Negative 10k mill 1. The +1 is obviously good. Getting the double strike pressure every turn is good. Your opponent can't ignore this card. And I did have a few of my games where my opponents tried to ignore it, and I hard punished them for it. One of my losses though was me being stupid and not using the -3 when I should have, and it cost me a game because I was stupid. But otherwise, like overall, like if your opponent doesn't touch this and you have that -3 ready whenever you need it, it's absolutely broken. So Jiren, powerful card. Nothing more to really say about it. The only like thing coming up and going into next set is like it may not be as viable because of the that new green Goku SR if green gets popular, but that Goku SR only gets rid of 3-cost unison or 3 or less unison if it attacks. So you could technically just go Jiren Videl, or when that Gohan comes out, you go Jiren Gohan, or you just counterplay Gohan and kill the Goku, and then it doesn't matter. So like Jiren is still relatively safe, and I would probably never cast that Goku if I was playing green against red anyways, unless I know they don't have Videl and Gohan in hit. But anyway, these cards are good. The next card is Cooler Suffocating Tyranny. This card's pretty good. A lot of the team did say I should consider running it as a 1-of. I like it at 2. It's a pretty useful card. Being able to pay 3 and just get a 25 triple striker is very good. It actually came in very clutch, the fact that he's a 25 and not a 20. In one of my matches, it actually won me the game because of that, because my opponent had played Koitsukai. So, and he had been trying to swing with his Convert SCR, and he had like maybe 4 or 5 cards left in his deck. So like, I paid the 3 to play this, and then I did like a super combo and untapped one, and I super comboed against untapped. I don't know. I untapped a bunch of stuff, and I made it so that I had rivaled this, and then I rivaled the other cooler. I had no cards left in hand, so the Koitsukai effect didn't matter, and I milled him for the win. So 25 base is actually pretty clutch. The on play, on attack auto is you get to make your opponent mill 1 and minus 25k battle card. So it's basically a mill 2 on play and on swing. So that's potentially like a mill 4 by itself, and it's a 25 triple striker. And at the end of your turn, you can bounce them to your hand to untap a red or blue energy, which is extremely useful. So the card's good. When he's useful, he's probably one of the best cards in the deck, and when he's not, you just side him out. It doesn't matter. I will be honest though, every game where I did sideboard, I would side out usually 1 copy of him, but I would still keep 1 copy in the main. It's very useful.
That's the thing, right? You're keeping him safe, but bringing him back to hand. So having 2 copies is still, it feels like you're having way more because he's just going back to your hand at the end of the turn most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. The piece de resistance, in my opinion, is the Cooler Tyrannical Assault. This card's broken. It was broken at set 9. It's broken now. Your 1 mana rival for 1 red double strike 20k, and on play you make your opponent mill 1 and minus 10k to your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, which means your leader causes another mill 2. This is an arrival mill 3, which is fantastic, and it's a 20k double striker. This card puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. It's something they can't really ignore, and like it mills them out. Like, what else do you want, right? You play on your opponent's turn, you're going to draw on your front side, and your turn on wake, it's like it just does everything you want. And like you were saying, like it's one of the tools that lets your deck go from like just a mill deck into an aggro deck. And it actually came up in one of my matchups, I think against Golden Frieza. The guy had, on me going first, a charge of multicolor. He played like a 1-drop, the yellow Take a Life Trunks, the one that restands it in the turn. He swung with it. I rivaled this cooler, negative 10k, made him mill 2. I drew a card, and when he passed, because his auto drops off first before mine would, the debuff, his dude died because he went back to being a 5k, and he was negative 10, so he just dies because he went to negative 5 basically. So he lost his battle card. He was here at 7, and then I was able to swing with leader and pressure this and be like, yeah, I'll take you down to 4 life on my turn 2, which he out comboed. But then in my turn 3, I was able to push him from 6 to 3 life basically on turn 3 against yellow Golden Frieza, which is fantastic. Like, he's already a danger zone by the end of my turn 3. So this card is always good. Like, when you want to switch to aggro, this lets you switch to aggro. When you want to just stall your opponent out, lets you stall your opponent. Like, it's just good. There's no other way around it. And thank God they reprinted this in Mythic Boosters. So like, those of you who are on a budget, this deck is pretty budget friendly. So just keep an eye on it.
I was gonna say, I think the only things in your list, obviously we haven't gotten to them yet.
Oceanus, probably.
Oceanus, maybe. I don't know. It was definitely not as expensive. She used to be the SGRs, and then maybe I don't know how much that cooler is. I know that cooler is super expensive when it came out the 5. Like Even the
The triple
25k,
striker?
the triple
Oh, he's
striker.
cheap.
Everything else is kind of like Jiren's, I believe, an old anniversary box or
Yeah.
some expansion. The chilled that you get into later, that's an anniversary box.
Yep.
The Frieza SR, as soon as Android 18 Church of Frank got hit, that's no one's
fell
using
out.
that.
Yep.
And then everything else is kind of just rares, older super rares, and then just commons and stuff.
Like, half this deck's been reprinted, and the rest is like whatever.
Yeah.
It's very, very cheap to build this deck, in all seriousness. And then the next card is Combo Attack Cooler. This card is broken. It lets you do some really stupid stuff if you have a lot of energy open, because it's Activate Battle. Lets you choose one red or blue Frieza clan in your battle area other than Combo Attack Cooler, return it to your owner's hand, and you play this guy from your hand. So basically, if you have the right sequencing, you can Biriarr super combo in your opponent's turn, Arrival Tyrannical Assault Cooler, make them mill 3, depending on how their board state is, pay 1 blue, play this guy, bounce them back to your hand, pay 1 red, play the cooler again, make them mill another 3. If you have another combo attack, you play another blue, bounce cooler back to your hand, do it again, make them mill 9, and it's like, for 5 energy, you just made them mill 9 cards, and you minus 30k stuff, ignoring barriers. So you potentially could have ended their turn just like that, and then his auto when he attacks, or when he's attacked, you get to combo a red-blue multicolor from your grave, which is fantastic because it lets you Z-charge easily, and it swings for 25k, and it helps you set up your arrivals. So it's just, there's so many benefits to this card, and it actually helped me in my final round for me to close out the game, because I just went to aggro my opponent down, and it's very, very useful. But like, it's a card you can side like 1 out as well. Like, you don't necessarily need 3. I just like 3. But you can go 2 copies as well. But it's, at worst, it's still a blue card you can combo for arrivals as well if you don't have the free combos for the red blue. So it's still useful in many aspects.
No, yeah, that card, there's definitely early on, I remember doing some shenanigans where you just are right at the end of milling someone out. You have all this energy, but you only have 1 copy of this cooler Tyrannical Assault, and then you play the 1, make the mill 3, you pull out the combo attack cooler all in the same battle, bring back the Tyrannical Assault, arrival it again, because you still got that combo card in there, and then you're milling another 3, like, okay, I just need to make a mill 1 more card, and then I win. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Very, very useful. And then the next card, of course, is Oceanus Shenron, Negative Energy Explosion. I mean, it's topo, but your opponent has to mill 4 each time. But there's no real explanation needed for this. It's a very useful card. It does good things. One of my opponents did take the mill challenge and ended up milling, like, he milled 4, and then he only had like 3 cards left in deck, and he's like, oh wait, I can't swing. And it's like, yep, you'll lose the game if you swing. So it completely stopped him. But like most people, they just pass. Like, you do this. So the trick to this though is don't just do it on your turn 2 just because you felt like doing turn 2. You need to do this on turns where you know your opponent's going to be looking to apply a lot of pressure, right? So for example, I faced 2 red SS4s, and even in practice this week, I haven't dropped a game against red SS4. I'm not saying it's like, oh, auto win matchup, but you have to play it smart. But realistically, their turn 2 is whatever, who cares? Oh, you did a little damage to me, cool. You got me to 4 life, thank you. I want to awaken, like, who cares? But turn 3, 4, 5 onwards, against red SS4, for example, you want to use this on those turns, because those are the turns where they're going to want to start setting up pressure against you to start getting you low enough for their A-drop to kill you, or their SCR, or whatever other bullshit they want to run. So, very, very good card, but you have to be patient with it and use it at the right moment. And of course, with the amount of like counter plays that like blue has and yellow has, and even green to anti-floodgate you, you have to like be very careful and patient about how you do things. So that's what I would say there for that. And if you're running Y3 instead of 4, you can go 4, but it's a topo. You still got to discard a card, and this is a deck where you don't draw a lot. So I don't want to run 2/2. I don't want to rely on a negate that requires me to go -2 in hand if I know my opponent's just going to pass. Especially in a deck where I want to go to the battle phase as much as possible. So it's good when it's good, but you got to just do it the right time. And then the next card is Hercule and Majin Buu, Friends Forever. This card's broken. I love this card. I saw it a bit too much, though, I'm not gonna lie. I was talking out with the team, and everyone's like, no, you should go 4 copies. I'm like, I think I like it at 3, but they're like, I'll try it at 4. And I'll be honest, almost every game I sat it out the 4th copy for other stuff. So I guess that was the benefit, was it was a sideboard target, the fourth one, but it's a rival for 1 blue. When you play this card, you draw 1, you minus 10k when your opponent's battle cards, and this is all on the on play. Then at the end of the turn, you get to choose up to 1 of your red or blue battle cards other than Hercule Boo, and return it to the owner's hand. So this card's very useful in that you can use it to bounce your Tyrannical Assault coolers back to your hand, and any other stuff that you've got on board that you want to put back in hand, like the SGR and like combo attack coolers. There's targets you want. And then the benefit too is if you like play it on your opponent's turn, you get to, like, especially on your front side, you draw 1 and then you make them neg 10k, they mill 1, and then your leader auto procs and you draw 1 more. So like for 1 energy, you just got to draw and you neg something and you made your opponent mill 1. Like that's pretty good, and you can bounce something on your board back to your hand to use again. So very, very multi-purpose. And then also, I'm not running it in this current iteration of the list, but like if you're in a more aggro format, I would strongly suggest mainboarding topos, because this can bounce the topos back to your hand as well.
I was about to
So
say
now
that.
you have reusable floodgates. It's broken.
Yeah, that used to be the old tech with Topo before Oceanus and all these other things came out. It's just like, here's Topo.
Yep.
I'm gonna bring him back to my hand just so you can go fuck yourself and have to get through another one.
The next card is Chilled Ruling Through Fear from the Anniversary Box. This is one of the 2 cards that, like, I think took this deck, in my opinion, from being like jank to like good rogue. Like this deck is borderline not rogue, in my opinion. Like it's on that tip, but this card and the next card are why, in my opinion. It's a dual attack blocker, a rival for 1 red, 1 blue. Not bad. A little pricey, but not too bad. And then its permanent makes it so that it's a 0-5k combo if you have a multicolor energy charged. So absolutely fantastic, because now, before, the only way you could get free multicolor combos was to either use your super combo, so only 4 copies, and if you had Radiant Saints, 5 copies, and that's it. That was the only way you're able to use your multicolor combos for free, which means otherwise you'd have to tap 1, combo Hercule Boo, or another cooler to get your rivals off, which made the deck substantially harder. But with this, it's just a 0-5k. You don't have to think about it, you just do it. Oh look, I can do this and this and this instead of wasting energy on this. So that already made a big difference, but its on play is also broken. If you do elect to play it, you get the top 5 search for any Frieza clan, red or blue, so you get to search for your whole deck, because everything is a 5 cost, basically, that matters. And then, also on that same auto, you Ignoring Barrier, minus 15k one of your opponent's battle cards. So like, you will then proc your leader auto to draw 1, and you'll also make their opponent mill 1, and you already searched and drew a card. So you're basically drawing 2, removing a card on board, and getting a 20k dual attack blocker for 2 energy. Like, that is extremely good value, no matter how you slice it.
I honestly kind of slept on this card until you cracked me with him. Like, oh god, the Ignoring Barrier part hurts so bad too. Just like, especially against, not myself, I'm not a filthy yellow player, but yellow loves barrier, right? They're all little piss babies, 10k, 5k, the big boy trunks 19. It's just like, well, wait, you have barrier? Yeah, so what?
That shit out of here.
And then it's just like, oh, that wasn't enough. I got 1 more energy, or I got a beer super combo. I'll play the 5-drop cooler and minus another 10k. Like, the Ignoring Barrier makes it so good.
So like, now you have basically, with the 100% Overdrive Frieza, with your cooler Tyrannical Assault, and with the Chilled, you have like 10 cards in the main board naturally that Ignoring Barrier neg, and then with Jiren as well, that's another like 4. So that's 14 cards in the list already. And then, I mean, I ran 2 Wolffangs, we'll touch on that in a second, but you basically have 16 cards in the main board that ignore Barrier, which is very good. So, very, very useful. And then, of course, the next card, and this is the second reason why this deck is, in my opinion, very, very viable now, is Son Gohan facing the Android Terror. This card, not that great on a lot of other red decks. It's like an opposing presence at best, but most red decks are red Saiyans, but you can't use opposing in this deck. So this card is what imposing presence would be in other decks. It's very, very strong. When you're at 1, what is it? You pay 1, activate battle. Oh my god, you know what? I just realized it's activate main / battle. Oh my god,
Yep.
I have been. I thought it was activate battle. I don't know why. I completely missed that part. That actually cost me a game. Oh my
played,
god.
You played on harder mode. That's what happened.
I hard moded again. Oh my god. But yeah, you pay 1 and you just play it. If you're at 4 life. And his on play auto, you get to choose a total of 7 of your opponent's battle cards and or unisons. And they get minus 10k for the turn. And if you hit 5 or more cards, he gets 10k in double strike for the turn. Which is fantastic. And then his auto, when you Z charge and pay 1 red, minus 15k a battle card or unison. That part's been pretty useful multiple times. In my final round, my opponent was playing Kid Q, like yellow starter Kid Q. He had Awakened, he played 1 to play his Bulma, he swung with his leader, I comboed and took the hit, but I Z-charged this, and I just used the minus 15k to kill the Bulma unison right away because it was at 1 marker. Negative 15 is like, oh, now I gotta waste another energy. And in yellow, every energy matters, so like it was a very substantial play, but otherwise, like, this card, the on-play auto is very, very strong, especially in this meta where people like to go wide and do a lot of stupid stuff. Having the ability to potentially make your opponent mill 7 for 1 energy is hilarious. But if you have 2 copies in your hand, because it's minus 10k, it's probably not killing their board, but it negs their board enough that they won't swing at you, and then they pass, and then what happens is, on your turn, you just pay another 1, play it, and make them mill another 7. So for 2 energy in the span of 2 turns, you milled 14 cards. Like, this is like the highest benefit.
That's ridiculous. 14 cards, especially hitting on the right. Yeah, I was gonna say, potentially, like having 7 cards out is a little crazy, but hey, you got AOD out. AOD, if people are running that, 7 cards, not much to them.
Yeah, exactly, right? So this card, extremely good. It lets you do a lot of stupid stuff, and it hits unisons too. Like, it's very subtle but very powerful. I'm kicking myself right now that I completely missed the activate main part because, damn, one of my losses actually would have not happened. Next card is Wolfang Fist. I mean, we have a unison, you just cast it for free. Neg something, ignoring barrier, 15k, your opponent mills 1. Nothing else to say. You're stopping an attack, you make your opponent mill 1. What more do you want, you know? It's free. Can't go wrong. And then After Image Technique is After Image Technique. It's a potential self-awakener against decks that are like, you know what, I'm not going to let you awaken early, and it's still a mill. So you stop an attack, basically, because no one's going to, like, combo up there. But it gives you the battle phase still, which is nice, because sometimes you can use that to extend certain other things, and you get a mill off it anyway. So for free or 1 energy, it does a lot, and it can also help you awaken. So there's a lot of plus sides to Afterimage. You can go 3 copies even. I was running 2, but honestly, I might actually bump this up to 3. It's a very good card. It's a card you want to see. But it's also a card you do charge, because a lot of cards in your deck are more important than Afterimage, but having something you can just charge but still be useful is never a bad thing. The next card is Dark Barley Heartless Berserker. This Overwhelm's broken. Enough said there. I mean, I think we've all been hit by this card. I don't need to really elaborate. It's good in this deck. I used to run the Bardock Overwhelm to draw 2, discard 1, but this just feels better, so yeah. Spottable. What else is there to say? Yamcha Merciless Barrage. This card is the most useless card in the deck. I literally used this 0 times, and I think I sat it out almost every game. This card sucks. Well, it doesn't suck, but it's not needed for this deck. I legitimately think I can cut this up the After Image to 3, or I cut it up to Delta 4. Like, that'll be better use of deck space than this card. The only benefit is that it's something I can use to sideboard, but at that point, just don't run it.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah, then in all seriousness, this card's not that great. It's good, but it's not that great in this deck. I don't know, it's weird. And because its counterplay doesn't actually draw you a card on your lead auto, because it's on the counterplay text the neg, not on before it even hits the board, you're not drawing off your leader auto with this. So it doesn't it doesn't do what you want necessarily. But it's not bad in fact. I don't know. I don't have mixed feelings. And then the SCR that
it's
I ran...
not bad. It's good. It sucks. I fucking hate it. It's it's okay.
I don't know. Mixed feelings.
There you go.
And then the secret rare I ran for today was Radiant Saiyans. Personally, I was debating on either playing that or Pan or Unbridled Vegeta. They're all good in their own way for different reasons. The downside to running Vegeta is that you need 4 red charged, which, I mean, you should be able to have most of the time. You have check lands and mono red cards you can charge. However, sometimes you will run into a game where you have no choice but to charge a Senzu Bean or your combo attack cooler, and that's a blue. And now you're not gonna be able to play that Vegeta till turn 5 instead of turn 4. So that's the downside there, because especially when you're playing in a regional, this thing was 8 rounds. Like, this was an 8-round regional. I'm not taking the risk of having one game where, oh no, I can't use my STR because I had no choice but to charge a blue. It didn't actually happen today. I actually had pretty good energy charges the whole day. But the fact of the matter is, the longer you go, play in a regional, you have more chances of a miss, right? Like, so I didn't want to take that chance with Vegeta. And Pan is good. There's nothing wrong with the Pan Secret Rare. But part of it too is that if your opponent's smart, they're just not going to play a lot of battle cards against you. And now Pan isn't really going to be able to be played for free. And there's a lot of counter plays that can hit Pan. So like T-Blow can hit it, but who cares about T-Blow? It doesn't matter. They just have to counter it. But like, they can do other weird stuff, and it's gone. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I lose my Secret Rare. But with the Radiant Saiyans, it's extremely easy to use. It's a 9th multicolor combo for free, and you either pay 2 to remove 4 battle cards, or you pay 2 for the ability to play a 40k double crit while also doing a 10k combo. This card lets you pop off. It lets you defend yourself very well. It's just very flexible and easy. So like, yes, Vegeta's effect is more powerful. Pan's effect is more powerful. But they're not as convenient to use as this. And that's what you need, is flexibility, because this deck itself is extremely flexible. It flows a bit like water. I'm not gonna say like a river, you know what I mean? But it has an ebb and flow to it. So having a card where you can use it both defensively when you need and offensively in the right moments is very, very important. It's subtle but good. I'm not saying, I don't know if it's 100% the best choice still, but it did feel good. I did not regret running it, in all seriousness. Like, there's maybe one game where I'm like, oh man, if I wish I ran Vegeta, but like, who cares? Like, one game, I wish I ran Vegeta. 7 games, I was happy I ran this.
Yeah, I guess. I get. It's just like you said. At worst, it's still another 10k multicolor.
Exactly.
Like, it's still can get you your arrival cooler, it can get you all this, and then just the way you use any energy in the deck. Vegeta's a big tap out for 4, so you probably won't be able to untap and do stuff like that. It'd be a little trickier. This is all, use this, you play that card after, you still got like 1 or 2 energy, you can untap with Biriarr, go into a cooler, I think it flows a little bit better with this deck. Yeah.
It just works very easily. Another option is Gohanks. You could totally run the Gohanks Secret Rare. It's fantastic, it's good. But I don't think you run Gohanks if you run Jiren. You either go one or the other. If you run Jiren, don't bother with Gohanks, because now you're like getting rid of your Jiren. So what's the point? Where if you run Gohanks and you just have more room for other cards, you just use those other cards, because Jiren Videl is a 7-card package, so you could just run other things instead, like more topos or drives in the deck or whatever. So Gohanks is also a good choice too. Ignoring Barrier 25k, the board is good. Like, that could potentially just win you the game by itself. The Z deck, I went 1 Cell, Awaken Created. I mean, I'm not going to touch on this too much. We've all been hit by this card. I don't care anymore. One thing I will actually say though, and this is a ruling thing to just be aware of for players, is like, for example, let's say you're facing green and they charismatic you, right? You play Cell, and then you try to absorb their board and they play charismatic, right? You would think, oh, charismatic would actually just kill a Cell, but actually, because Cell absorbs the Frieza, the person who now controls the master of the Frieza card is now the person using Cell. So now they have control of Charismatic's auto. So the Cell doesn't get killed by Charismatic, instead just KOs something else 7 or less, and the board still gets absorbed anyways.
Is that how that works?
Yes.
What
per the rulings with how the Cumber SCR is, yes.
Okay, wow. They just made green even shittier, guys. I'm sorry to inform you here.
Yep. It's also like certain counterplays, like the on-play ones, like the Borgos, for example, or like Videl. Videl counterplay, same thing. If your opponent plays Videl, you're the master of you absorb Videl, you're the master of the card, because the only situation in the rulebook basically that like contradicts that is when like it's like when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, get XYZ effect. Like the 9-drop Sin, where if it's removed, you draw 2 and play the 1-star ball, right? That is different. So like if there's a card that absorbs that, then yes, the original owner of the card gets the draw 2, then plays the ball. So something to be aware of, unless they change the rulebook after, that's how it works. So if your opponent tries to Videl you, your opponent tries to charismatic you, Borgo's counterplay, any of that weird stuff, Cell just absorbs it. So that's the only thing there. I just wanted to clarify some rulings because it's good to know. Something I learned earlier this week.
I didn't even know that. Oh god. Well, Cell's even more dangerous against green now.
More stupid. Yep. Yeah. And Cumber SCR is even more obnoxious. Oh my god, that was super obnoxious to deal with. But yeah. And then Rush Attack Vegeta. I ran it 3 copies. There was a game where I actually used all 3 copies. This card's fantastic in this deck. You literally swing, you minus 15k something. Like there's nothing, you know. It's just good. Like you have another way to mill your opponent out. It gives you another ability to push for game against your opponent. There's a lot of upsides to Rush Attack. It's very synergistic with what the deck wants. The only downside to Rush Attack is you need to combo mono. It's auto to combo mono red card from grave is a 5k combo card, so most of your deck is a multicolor. So the only like mono reds that you're actually like able to combo from grave is your SGR and your Videl. So if you don't have them in your grave, you kinda you can't really combo them. So you're just swinging like 15, and it happened a lot, but you still get the neg, and that's the biggest part. And it actually helped me close out like 2 different games. One just to kill my opponent, the other one to mill them out. So yeah, Rush Attack is good. I run 1 copy of Defender of Life. I mean, burn your opponent, get a 20k barrier, double strike, or deflect. Like when you need to push for game, this is great because you can play it, take your opponent from 4 to 3, and then swing and take your opponent from 3 to 1. And then swing with like your Jiren, or you go swing with Jiren, take them from 3 to 1, then swing with this, and they can't get rid of it, and you just go win. So Defender of Life is good when you need to just aggro your opponent down. It's exactly what you want, especially in the days of these SGRs and Goku Blacks. Beerus Area Annihilator. This card's fantastic. I'm actually an idiot and did not use this at all today, and there was like 1 or 2 matches where I should have used this and I didn't, and I'm an idiot for that. The downside to Area Annihilator is that the activate main to restand him costs 2 blue, and unless you got lucky and got all 4 of your check lands, or you have 4 blue-red already charged, you're not going to be able to consistently play him, swing him, and do the activate main like other like blue decks do normally. So just be aware of that. It's still very strong. You definitely run at least 1 copy. It does a lot of good things, but you just have to understand that like it's not always gonna get you exactly what you want. That's all. And then I run 1 copy of Vegeta Surmounting Impossible. This card's broken. It's good. It helps you awaken. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish I ran 2 copies. I just don't know where I'd cut something to make space for it, because I can't justify cutting anything else. It would be nice to have a 2nd copy though. I mean, I guess you could cut Beerus because you have so much barrier removal to run that, but like Beerus is so good too. So I don't know. Maybe just because Beerus is so awkward, you just run 2 Vegetas. But I don't know. That's where my mind's at there. So you know, make your own decisions. And then for the sideboard, everything in the sideboard was useful except for Deborah's and the Jiren counterplay. Every single card I put in was extremely useful. Mecha Kabura was useful. The Koitsukais were useful. The Mais were useful. The Deborahs were not. The Jiren was not. Black Smoke was useful. V-Rays was actually useful.
Really?
Against
Even with
Yellow Sin. Yeah, against Yellow Sin.
Okay, fair enough. People are actually playing Yellow Sin. I'm surprised.
Yep. And then Dirty Burst. I faced 2 red SS4s. I sided in Dirty Burst. Bro, Dirty Burst is clutch. That's all I'm going to say. Dirty Burst is very useful. The only thing with Dirty Burst, of course, is you need to have 2 blue open when you pass your opponent who's playing Gogeta on their turn 4 so that you can Dirty Burst them. So just be aware of that and make sure you're careful about the way you tap your energy, or you might just lose the game. So yeah, that's the list. Sorry, we're going a little winded there. In terms of the matchups, round 1, trying to think back now, was against Red SS4. It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a wash. It was very easy. I won't say easy. I'm not gonna down talk my opponents. Everybody played very well, so I'm not gonna be like that. But like, I knew the game plan. I knew what I needed to do exactly, step by step, and did it methodically. But my opponent got very close. Like I think it was at like 1 life, 1 or 2 lives. So you have to like play a risky game against SS4 because like you need to take certain hits at certain times. So you just have to do it the right way. I don't know how else to like describe it, but you have to be very methodical about which lives you actually take and at what times. That's all. And then yeah, otherwise you just mill them out and you just win, or you can try to aggro them out too. Because like obviously if they go into your Z leader, you kind of just win the game anyways. So always something to consider there. And then round 2 was against a blue Bojack player. He went second, but he actually played pretty well. He played aggro against me. He literally played his veto crit on his turn 1, and he started critting me down early, which obviously hurt because he critted one of my one of my coolers, the double striker. So yeah, and then like I made a very big misplay, like I mentioned earlier. He had the Biriarr Z card on board, the SGR, and he had played the Goku SCR to untap 4. And I was able to basically made his SCR a 20k and his SGR a 10k. And then he swung on my leader with the Biriarr Z card and had 5 markers on my Jiren. And for some stupid reason, I don't know what possessed me to not do this, I didn't -3 to kill the SCR. And then after that swing, he just swung everything at my Unison, killed it, and then like 2 turns after I died because of the SCR because I couldn't get rid of it in time. So, oops.
Hey, hindsight's 2020.
Hindsight 2020. Don't be greedy, kids. Kill that fucking SCR. And then round 3 was against Yellow Sin. I was actually facing Pistol's brother, so it's kind of unfortunate because you feel bad facing people you know. But the matchup's pretty easy. You just mill them. You don't need to worry about anything. You just stall. You Oceanus and you violent raise them every turn, and that's it. You're good because they burst themselves. And then when they tap 6 to play their dudes, you just win the game because you just go, oh, you played 6 battle cards, 7 battle cards. Okay, I play SGR -7, everything. And because they play, he was doing the control version, and because the control version plays the 30k revenge blocker, you kind of just neg it multiple times in a turn. Like you want to get rid of it because it's a fucking annoying ass card, and when you kill it, it draws 2 anyways. So like it helps their mill technically. But like because it's a 30k base, you can do multiple abilities that reduce power, and you just get extra value, and you just mill them even faster. And their Oceanus Searcher mills them 1, and their Nova mills them 2. And it's just like, oh my god, please keep on milling, buddy. Right? So it's a very easy matchup for Cooler Mill. And then round 4, I don't remember which one was round 4, which one was round 5. I think round 4 I faced a Golden Frieza. The guy played it very well, I'm not gonna lie. He actually was a very skilled player, but the Golden Freeze, like I said earlier, I was able to push him to 3 life by turn 3. By the end of my turn 4, I had him at 1 life, and then I did legitimately kill him on my turn 5 or 6. And he was very smart. He was very careful about how many battle cards he played, but I still milled him down to like 2 or 3 cards left in deck because it just happens. And but he did play 3 of the Gohan Unison in that game, so he literally did like the -3 times that match. So I literally had to deal with like 9 25k swings that whole match. It was so annoying. But I managed to survive, so hey, I got the dub. You know what I mean? But something I did too was I baited out the counter though, because I had 2 Oceanus in hand. I had like 3 open, but I had multiple super combos, so like I knew he had counter, so I baited with Oceanus. He countered. He drew like 2 cards there. I'm like, all right, this is fantastic. And then the swing goes through. I untapped the energy I needed for the what do you call it, the Oceanus, and then he tapped out to play the Gohan Pan super rare combo.
Yeah.
And he had no open energy, and I'm like, all right, I have 2 open. Let's play Oceanus, and he had only like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 cards left in deck at that point, and he's like, shit. And I'm like, yep. And that bought me the turn, and then I just aggroed him down. And he even he had no choice. Like he even tried to play his Gohan Piccolo SCR, but like I just kept pushing, and I think I got him through life or through mill. But like it was done either way. Like basically, I had him no matter what. Either I killed him through damage or he threw mill. It was like at the same time, basically. And then I faced Black Kai. That was fun match. Very scary at the end. He almost had me. God bless. I barely survived. But it was very close. He played Cumber. I token negated intentionally so that he would steal my token, and then he Kotsukai'd, and then I'm like, uh-oh, and then he swung, but at that point he only had like 4 or 5 cards left in deck, and he comboed everything on board that he could, but he didn't combo, but he's like stole one of my cooler battle cards from the warp and played it, but my cooler's a 1-mana 10k, so he couldn't combo that, so like, because he Kotsukai'd, I sequenced it where I played the triple striker like I said earlier, and then I played the other guy, and I was able to mill him out that way, and that was the only way I was going to win that. If I played it the normal way, I would just lose. So that was also good. And then after that was round 6 against Gamma. I lost that one. My opponent did a lot of hand control. He made me bottom deck like 7 cards in hand. It's pretty unfortunate, but it is what it is. I almost had him. He had 2 cards left in deck, but he kept negating every single turn, and I was just so tired because I'm honestly running like 3 hours sleep. I was so tired. I had 2 Kotsukais in grave, and I completely forgot to use them. And it's like, oh my god, well, I can't believe I forgot to use Kotsukais, because that would have just stopped all that crap, and then I would have probably been able to win. So that's on me there, but whatever. It happens when you get in these long tournaments. You get tired, you forget stuff. It happens, you know. That's why the winners win and toppers top. Shit. And then round 7 was against another red SS4. Very nice gentleman. I had a great match against him. We were just shooting the shit the whole time, but it did feel bad beating him because he was a nice guy. But he literally straight up said like, I've only faced Cooler Mill like maybe one other time. So like, I felt bad for him because he just kept like drawing, and then he took the Oceanus challenge, and I'm like, do it, man. Like, I didn't tell him, but it's like, oh man, don't do it, bro. But like, obviously, I'm not gonna tell him that while we're playing, but you know. And then the final round was against Yellow Kid Q starter. Very nice gentleman as well. Hit it off, had a great time. It was a great match. We were just shooting the shit the whole time, just joking we were just laughing at each other because we're a bunch of idiots. But the 100% overdrive freeze was absolutely crazy in that matchup. And like you said, the ignoring barrier on the coolers and the chills were actually insanely useful. Because like on one of his turns, he swung at me with his like a 15k, and he had like 3-4 battle cards on board with barrier, and I comboed Radiant Saints, and then I literally arrived with like 3 battle cards and my Radiant Saints. I made him like, I don't know, like 9-10 cards that turn, and I had like 2 double strikers on board, the dual attacker and the SCR on board, and it's like, what the fuck happened here? And I'm like, but I kept him at 6 life, and I'm like, hold on, I can swing here and push you down, but I think if I do it like this, I actually will lose because your Z leader is insanely broken, so I'm gonna wait. I waited a full turn, then I played 100% overdrive freeze, and I swung with it, and I made him mill like his board. Obviously, I cleared out a good amount of his board, and then but he rested it. Sorry, the first time when I played it, he rested with the counterplay Vegeta, the SS4. It's in rest mode, so he didn't swing. But then I just used Jiren auto and negged his counterplay Vegeta 10k, so he still milled 3 because the Frieza auto and my leader auto, so he still milled 3 there. And then the next turn I swung with it, made him mill another, and then he had like 2-3 cards left in deck, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking swing at you. I have a 40 double crit, I have all these double strikers, and I swung and I swung and I swung and I swung. Like, I could try to mill you out and be a bitch boy, but you know what? I'm gonna kill you like a man. I'm gonna give you that respect. You're a nice guy, we'll give you that respect. We'll kill you the good way. So I kept going, and on my second last swing, I had 2 combo attack coolers on board. I swung the first one for like 70k, and he out comboed that. He only had 1 card left in hand, like a Champa in hand, I think, and he had 1 open. And then I swung with the other combo attack. I had dumped my hand on the 70k swing. I swung the other combo attack cooler, just comboed a multi-card engrave, went to 25. He's like, oh, I can only go to 25. I'm like, yep, GG, buddy. So like, that's all there's to it. Like I said, I legitimately did try to aggro my opponents down. I'm not that type of guy. I like to just mill my opponents. No, I like to beat you down, bro. Like, if I got a million, I'll mill you, but like, if I can kill you, I'll just do it. So yeah, that's how the tournament went overall. Yeah, I had a good time. The deck was actually, I felt it was a very, very good pick. Like I said, the one loss, I feel like I did a big misplay there, and the other one too. Like, I mean, I forgot to use Coach guys, so the losses are on me. Like, I'm not gonna this and that. Like, no, they were on me. I made my misplays. You know what I mean? And the higher you go, the more mistakes you make, the more you're gonna lose. Like, it's just a hard fact, right? So one mistake can lose you a whole match.
No, it's
So
100%.
get good or go cry in a corner. Like, come on. But overall, though, I will say the deck is very fun. I recommend it to anybody, but I know a lot of people don't like facing it. I know a lot of people's friends will probably get shanked for playing the shit. But I will be honest, it's a good deck. You have a lot of cool interactive things. You have a lot of interaction with your opponent. Let's be real here. Yeah, you're milling, you're negging stuff and milling stuff, but like your opponent has to sit here and actually think like, do I really want to play a battle card here? Do I play a unison? Do I do this? Do I do that? If I do this, do I play these cards that draw me? Like I like that shit because like it forces your opponent to second guess everything they do, but you also have to start thinking about everything they do as well, and you have to like have contingencies for everything. But the deck is also just so good. The leader itself is so powerful that like you don't even need to do this red blue build. Like this to me is a good solid red blue build. You can go mono red, you can go red yellow. Like the fact of the matter is you have a leader that is so generically good that you can do any build you want. You just go red aggro and mono red aggro and just have stuff that like negs and you're still milling your opponent. You go red yellow, same shit. You're still milling your opponent without even like trying. Because you can use the Wii super combo minus 10k something they mill one. Like on your super combo you're milling them. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many ways to play this deck. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. Like the more flexible something is, the more fun it is in my opinion. Because then you can start doing weird stuff. And like that's where the fun's at, you know, and just do some crazy shit. And it's budget friendly. Like you can literally just use the leader like $5 worth of cards. Like, oh, I have a deck that can mill you up. What? Yeah, just mono red cards. Really? From what set? Set 2. Who cares?
I was gonna say with that, I know you're still hoping there's a Z leader. Maybe you can run Red Sin Shenron SR once there's a Z leader for this deck.
Oh my god!
Even more bullshit in the deck,
brother. That is hype. I will say with the sets that are dropping now with set 20, you can definitely upgrade this with the Android 18, Android 17, because that card's broken. That card's just dumb because top 5 search, KO 4 less, grab your super combo, the activate battle, discard a card combo, two cards in your grave, red blue. Like, okay, sure, let's start setting up more arrivals. And it's a 25k base. Like it's good, right? And then the Gohan counterplay, those 2 cards alone make the deck even stronger to the point where I'm sitting here looking at the list and I'm like, shit, what am I gonna take out to put those cards in? Because they're really, really good. But you could make the argument, well, they're so good, maybe I just cut the Jiren Videl for that whole package, and that might be a potential move. But Jiren Videl is also just broken, so I don't know.
Well, I'm
Yamcha. Not sure.
You can take him out.
Yamcha can fuck himself. I think that Arrival Gohan from set 20, the one that has Invoker for the turn, is probably the worst card in the entire set, in my opinion. I think it's the worst trash. And it's super rare. It's so depressing. But I guess you could technically use it in this deck just to get another 15k beat stick, or to just get Invoker on your opponent's turn, which means, cool, I get to run Sleepy Boy, but only if I play this Gohan. But then it's just... No, the card sucks, man. Go fuck itself. It's just bad. So like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that weird shit. I'm good. Yeah. But like 17 and Gohan is definitely stuff to look at for next set to put in here. And I don't know. I'll look at the Anti-Laza stuff from next set. Maybe it's usable here, but I don't think so. I need to like sit down and look at a few things. But overall, it's a fun deck. I say have fun with it. Make your friends cry. Get shanked a bit. You know, it's good for your health.
There you go. The Hamilton handshake over there.
Hamilton handshake.
But it's just rounded 4 a.m. I know this is a late night emergency deck list thing. I just got on Discord and saw your message. I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's do this deck list. But thank you so much for showing the deck list off. I know you weren't able to stream because of the situation not being able to get into your stream equipment. You had to go rogue at your buddy's house and then do the whole tournament from there, which obviously not being in the same setting you always play cards, that also can throw off your game, but you still did very well getting
3 hours of sleep, I'll
yeah,
take it.
getting 13th there with this deck. Obviously not a contender in the meta right now, and you brought it in and still top 16 with it, which is super awesome. Do you know how many players were playing? Because it's 8 rounds.
256. It was capped.
256. That's capped. Okay, so that was a full tournament. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
I know this is what the first one since Worlds, so this is kind of the start of the new season, and everyone wants to get that dub in the first tournament. So
Yep.
super good on that. If you want to plug your Twitch there and anything else, please.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's true. So I do stream on occasion, although my computer's been a little on the fritz right now, so I gotta figure that out. But it's twitch.tv/Biriarr, so Birarr. I usually stream Dragon Ball, but sometimes I'll stream like video games like Sekiro when I want to work, or some other stuff. I always like playing those like really hard video games where you have to like time shit perfectly or just die like a bitch. So we'll see what happens there. Of course, shout out to Rosas for having me come on. I really appreciate it, of course. Shout out to Game 3, our sponsor. They're fantastic, as always. Shout out to the rest of the team. Shout out to AU for letting me crash at his place.
There you go. Yeah, shout out to him.
And impose enough to use his setup. Like thank you, honestly, brother. I really do appreciate it. Lifesaver. The man's complete lifesaver. But yeah, and obviously good games to all my opponents. You all played fantastically. Is that even a word? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
But right? But yeah, and everyone keep on having fun. And a little exciting news that apparently was confirmed. Hopefully I don't get shot for this, but apparently this year Nats invites do get passed down. So those of you who didn't get your invite this regional, it's not too late. You might even get it. You might get it for the rest of the year anyways. So play in your regionals, and maybe we get like 1,000 people at Nats or more instead.
That'd be cool, and we'll be there from 9 in the morning till 9 the next morning. It'll be nuts.
It'll be great. I'm bringing vodka for that. I'm telling you what.
But that's bedtime for me. Thank you so much for showing the list off. Congrats again on your placing, and hopefully people don't know your IP that you played against, so they can't find you and give you a nice Hamilton handshake in your sleep.